Well, today's project, it's actually it's a personal one today because this is my own home that I'm presenting. So what I wanted to create was a response that's grounded in our family's heritage. I'm Italian, my wife's Italian, and also wanted to create a home that I know felt of instant permanence in an area which is established full of heritage area and protected street. So we originally intended, the home's in Malvern East, originally intended to renovate the existing semi-detached house at the front for a family home, but due to the unique siding down a laneway and a large parcel of land down the back, we thought there was an opportunity to subdivide and create a new parcel of land. So you see the little diagram at the bottom, the orange shaded area, access via a pedestrian walkway, and that's a new parcel of land. Due to the limited outlook though, doing a house down the laneway, the concept for this home was to create a response that was more about a series of European inspired courtyards, so we created our own sort of inward focus and private outlooks. The program, it's generally straightforward. I'm not going to go through room by room, but generally the ground floor is all living areas. There's also a study with a fold down bed as a fourth bedroom for guests to stay. There's a large sort of central kitchen and living area that look out onto another courtyard, which is the brown shaded area, private garden out the back. And the first floor up the top of the page is all bedrooms, 2 for the kids and 1 for us on the first floor on the right there. So the result, it's a material exploration of a very humble material, the old school brick. So by saturating the use in a simplified sort of gestural form, it simultaneously takes on like a sense of permanence, I suppose, and the richness of an older period home. The experience is that it does feel older. It could be like a rural building or a monastery as opposed to a newer inner city dwelling, but it is evocative of something older and also contributes to the neighbourhood character of the period homes. Instead of a typical double garage for car parking requirements, taking up valuable space, instead we've unusually entered into this large courtyard that reveals the facade of the building for the first time. The scale's quite unexpected. It's more that of like a civic space that you'd expect as opposed to that in a home. And you access it via a large 12-metre sliding timber wall there. But the area it offers more than just car parking. It's where kids can play, you can hold parties. We do the big Italian passata making tomato day there, so it is very much a multifunction area. The building's constructed with old school building techniques, so it allowed us the opportunity to expand on the detailing of the brickwork. We sourced an Australian-made cement brick that had sort of soft texture and subtle movement in the face of the brick, so it had that more sort of a worn type of character to it. And they were laid in a random brick-wall pattern, so it's less about the brick and mortar and a unit, more about a patchwork and sort of a softer feel of brickwork over the building. A series of vertical soldier course parapets add a bit of rigour to the building, and also just adds a bit of detail like some of the other older period homes in the area, just in a contemporary way. Necessities like overflows, we've sort of celebrated that and made little custom brick profiles there, and we've also used those header courses for built-in pizza ovens and barbecue benches, so really saturating the use there. An identifiable marker of the home is this sort of singular entry arch that you walk through, and we've actually used a paving brick for that, so you get a sort of very deep reveal, sort of emphasis on the massivity of the building. It's also a loggia space that you enter into, so the front door's sort of hidden around the corner, and it's more of a sequenced sort of European way of approaching the building, so it conditions you as you enter. We've done similar things with the cobblestones in the courtyard as well, where we've done custom wedges and interlocking rings there, so it just adds another sort of level of detail into this space. Internally, there's a sentiment to the materiality used, with this antique oak panelling, sawn travertine floors. Look, they're materials that, you could say they could be Italian, you'd see them in an old gelato shop overseas, but they're materials around Australia that are deeply rooted in a lot of the early modernist buildings that you'd see. They'd be right at home in that type of setting. Particular rooms in the house, they are fully lined and immersed in this timber. These are primary rooms, and it does give sort of moments of full immersion and saturation. The kitchen, it's almost playing up to that cliche of the heart of the home, so that room as well is just fully enveloped in the timber, and the joinery is using the same material, so it is this sort of flooding of a singular use Similarly for the study on the left there, where the fold-down bed's concealed in wall panelling, and even the master bedroom there, you can see the robes, even the vanity area, the bedroom, it's all lined in this singular material. Reinforcing that courtyard nature of the home, the rear living room is all the brickwork's brought inside as part of a larger courtyard area, so it does feel that that living room, just separated by a wall of glass, is actually within the courtyard itself. Not wanting to feel precious or grand, the flooring just uses a very simple, small sort of brick paving sized, sawn travertine floor. You could see it in a farmhouse. Again, you could see it in a modernist home. So it's very much about just being unassuming and relaxed in the materiality used. Due to the intensity of brickwork and timber and some of these primary finishes, the remaining areas of the house, they're more sombre. A putty toned paintwork is used for the walls and the ceilings. And in these areas, it's more of a volume study. And we're looking at drawing in light from areas, so it's only the spread of light you see, but not the windows, from closed-through windows and skylights. It's quite an inwardly focused building. Using that reduced palette, bathrooms are the same. They just use a singular, cost-effective porcelain, concrete look tile, but we got the tiles ripped up into smaller battens when we did the order. So it just gives this sort of intensity and rhythm to the rooms, like you see in the other areas. In addition to, I suppose, the core basics of sustainability, there is just a series of passive principles integrated within the building, so there's more of the considered approach. The double-skinned walls, like the loggia spaces, for example, and protected verandas, they do allow for passive sun control, but they also create like evaporative cooling corridors for the house. And even the courtyards, having these series of courtyards, they do moderate the external temperature, so it sort of makes a differential a little bit easier to control inside. Thank you. In conjunction with basic crossflow ventilation throughout the house, the centrally located stair void, it acts as a singular shaft to provide like a sort of Venturi effect, drawing the cooler ground floor temperature towards the first floor, and it limits reverse cycle air conditioning use. And just that general heft of the walls, that solid construction, the R values are boosted. Some instances, double brickwork construction, full air cell style building wrap, so there's an insulated cell behind the brickwork. So that's it. The house, it's not one of grand gestures or expensive materials. It's just one that's really focused around, study of controlled spaces. And it's one, I'd like to think it sits strongly yet quietly in the streetscape of the period homes, but it's one that is, uniquely us and typifies our family. That's it. Thank you.